So good morning everyone. In last class we have discussed about what is a servlet, architecture of a servlet. So servlet is nothing but it is a piece of Java code that runs within a server to handle client request. So to implement servlet in our program, we just want to do some basic things. First thing is we have to import javax.servlet package. By importing this particular package, we can use servlet classes and servlet exceptions in our program. So there are two ways to implement servlet in our program. First thing is either by implementing servlet interface or by extending servlet class. So here servlet is an interface. So generic servlet is a class that implements my servlet interface. And HTTP servlet class, it is a subclass or child class of my generic servlet which implements servlet interface. There are two ways to implement servlet into our program. First thing is to implement a servlet interface. Second one is we can extend a class that implements a servlet interface. Here I am extending Java servlet. It is a class which implements servlet interface. So today we are going to discuss about how we are going to use Java servlet class for implementing servlet into our program. So this is a basic example for generic servlet. So this is my HTML file where I'm creating a simple website or web page which contains a link. That particular link is connected to the servlet. Once I click on that particular link, it is connected to the servlet. So this is my basic HTML program. I'm just giving the title of my web page is generic servlet demo, and inside my body tag I'm just giving the reference to my servlet, that is href. I'm just creating a link. By clicking on this particular link, I can connect to the servlet and particular response is produced on my web page. Next comes my servlet program. Here import java.io.star. It is for importing my output files. Next line is I'm importing servlet packages. That is I'm importing javax.servlet.star. By importing this particular package, I can use all type of servlet classes and servlet exceptions into my document. Next one is public class. I'm creating a class which extends generic servlet. So generic servlet is nothing but the predefined implementation of servlet interface. So I'm extending this particular generic servlet into my class. Next one, public void service. Service is nothing but this particular method is automatically called once I get request from the user. This particular void service method is automatically called once I receive any request from the client. So it throws IO exception and servlet exception. So IO exception is for handling input output errors and servlet exception is for handling servlet related errors. Next one, response.setContentType. So my response, it is in the form of HTML form or text or HTML document. So I'm just telling my browser that my response, it is in the form of HTML or text. Next, printer p writer. It is an object, and in this particular object I'm just storing my response here. Next one is I'm creating a basic HTML kind of stuffs here. So this particular object.printf, I'm just printing generic servlet example, hello readers. These are all the content which is displayed on my web page. So this is the basic servlet example. Next is web.html. So what is the use of web.html? Web.html is nothing but in the first index.html, I have created a link. So once I click on that link, I want to connect with servlet, right? So to connect with servlet, I'm using web.html here. So web app is my root element here. Next, I'm just calling one by one, welcoming files like index.html. These are all the welcoming files I'm just calling out. Next one is servlet. So servlet is, first I want to declare servlet. So this part is servlet declaration. Servlet And inside my servlet tag, I'm just declaring servlet name and servlet class. Next one is servlet mapping. Servlet mapping is for connecting my URL with a servlet. It maps my URL with a servlet. So servlet name and URL pattern. Web app is my closing tag. So web.xml, this particular file is connecting that particular link to a servlet. I'm just using this file. So this is the output of this program. Here a simple web page is created. Click to call a servlet. So once I click on this link, I'll get this particular output. That is generic servlet example hello readers. So how I'm getting this output? By connecting my web page with a servlet using web.xml. So next comes life cycle of your servlet. So in my life cycle, there are three methods I'm using here. First one is init. Init is nothing but initialization of your servlet. So it is called only once. It is the first part of my servlet, that is initialization. Init is initialized. It is called only once in my program. So next one is service. Service is used for handling the request and response. This is the main logical part here. Next comes my destroy. Destroy, it is called at the end of my thing. Once the servlet completes processing its response, everything is done. So it is a wind up state where it is called only once at the end of my process. So these are all the life cycle methods of a servlet. Thank you.